Hey everybody, welcome to Q&A video number 36. Make sure you keep asking questions, doesn't matter about, they can be about anything. Just know that I don't respond to review requests or Let's Play requests in these videos, but I will respond to them in the comments. I need questions, people. I'm sorry that I haven't been able to do Q&As lately. I've just been sidetracked by other things. I'm trying to get back into it. But I need questions for Q&As beyond the next one, which will be 37. I just don't have questions anymore. That I just run out. So ask me things, people. Please ask me things. Anyway, you can submit questions in the comment section below. You can send them to me via PM. There's also a section in the forums where you can post them. So any of those is fine. Anywho, we're going to start today with a question from the Raz18. What is, in your opinion, a successfully ported console port to PC, and was the opposite the worst ever? That was a redundant sentence, but anyway. I can tell you right off the bat what are some of the worst ports I've ever seen. LA Noire, Grand Theft Auto, specifically Grand Theft Auto 4, Saints Row 2, those are just terrible ports. So is Dark Souls. It's an absolutely horrible port. To say nothing about the games themselves, of course. It's just that their PC ports are absolutely horrendous. So just avoid the PC versions of those particular games if possible. And it just shows you there was basically no effort put into the PC versions at all. They just didn't care. And as a result, you have games that don't run very well, that have control problems on keyboard and mouse. There's a lot of glitches that aren't in the console version, stuff like that. That's what makes it a bad port. As for good ports, Mass Effect generally did a pretty good job of that, actually, where it runs well, it controls just fine on PC. They did some optimizations for it and stuff like that. So Mass Effect's a good port. I hear Max Payne 3 has a really good PC version. I also hear that Borderlands 2 has a really good PC version, even though I'm not going to bother with Borderlands 2 at all. But those are pretty decent PC versions. And so it's stuff like that. When it takes advantage of the PC's platform, the keyboard and mouse controls work really well. The graphics options are much more in-depth, and they do a lot more to enhance the game as opposed to just basically being, does it look like the console? No, then it looks like crap. So, anyway. Moving on to a question from Daindeer Productions. What kind of skill trees do you like more? Those in which you have little choice about your path, or those in which you have plenty of choice? And do you think skill trees are good or bad in RPGs? The examples he gives aren't that great. Diablo 2 is a very, very restrictive game, yes. Dragon Age 2, not so much, really. I mean, it's really no more restrictive than Dragon Age Origins is, which is actually pretty restrictive. Deus Ex Human Revolution, on the other hand, lets you choose any upgrade you want in any order you want. So if you've got the praxis for it, then you can actually just get it. So it depends on the game, really. If it's a game where you're playing as a single character and it's like, okay, choose the way you want to play, and it allows you to have that huge amount of choice in what you want your character to do, then that open-ended skill path is very much suited to that. If it's a party-based role-playing game and each character is going to be a specialist in something, then a much more restrictive one is necessary, and that's exactly why games like Dragon Age actually have that. It's so that each character has their own specializations, and they'll be relevant for the party itself. So you have to keep that in mind. It's really not a matter of just giving you very little choice. It's actually a matter of balancing things out and making characters viable. So that works better for those. Which do I personally prefer? I personally prefer the ones where I can choose how I want to play. So the more open-ended ones. But when I'm playing a party-based game, I don't expect it to be like that. In fact, I don't want it to be like that, because I know it will unbalance the game. Anyway, moving on to a question from Dexter Van Buren. In your opinion, how would the gaming industry stand if Call of Duty and all sports game series ended in the near future? People would move on to something else. No, really, that's what would happen. They'd move on to something else. Call of Duty is actually fine as it is. I know a lot of people like to hate on it, but it's fine. It's still fun. I mean, $60 is a lot for these games, and they release yearly, so that's kind of a problem, but it's not quite as bad as sports games, where literally all they do is update the roster, and that's it. Or in the case of FIFA 13, if you play the Wii version, then you're playing FIFA 12. No, really, that's what you're doing. You're playing FIFA 12 on the Wii for FIFA 13. That's just depressing. But I just don't understand why people will go out and get sports games and be like, oh, this is great. Why don't you just go play the sport yourself? I mean, that's what I figure I'll do. I mean, if I want to go play a sport, I don't go, hey, I'm going to grab FIFA or NBA 2K12 or whatever. I figure I'm going to just go and play the sport. I may suck at it, but I'll have more fun than playing a video game about it. Anyway, yeah, people would just move on to something else. That's really that simple. Next one is from Grand High Pooba. How do you feel about the new Deus Ex movie being made by CBS Films? I don't really know much about it. All I know is it'd be very, very easy to screw up a Deus Ex movie. It would just be so easy because there's a lot behind Deus Ex that you don't really get if you just look over the games. And so it's kind of interesting how they might deal with something like that. Hopefully it'll be good, but probably it won't be. If it's actually getting made, of course. And the last one for today is from Calabokina. Do you ever feel bothered by the fact that our existence both as separate individuals and as a race is very temporary? Not really. It actually gives us a reason to exist. We want to make our mark on the world. And that's really as simple as it gets. I mean, you think about it. People aren't really concerned about what they do in the media. They're concerned about their legacy. They want to be known. And I mean, some people are perfectly content with being just existing, and then they just fade away, and that's fine. Don't get me wrong, but it does give us a reason to exist, and that's a very interesting discussion that I don't really want to get into on a YouTube video, but it's just something to think about. How would you be if your existence was, say, eternal? Would you like it? Just throwing that out there. If you live for hundreds and hundreds of years, or longer than that, for instance, would you like that? That's just a question I pose to you guys. Anyway, that was Q&A 36. Make sure to keep asking questions. I need them for future Q&A videos, and I will catch you guys in later videos.